Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the Critérium du Dauphiné Stage 1. The only nail, well, we say nailed on, nothing's a nailed on sprint stage in the Dauphiné. Even stages like this have about 2,000 meters elevation gain, but it should be a sprint. It's from Saint-Pourçault-sur-Sioule, and they loop back, so it's a loop. They do some local laps. It starts with some hills. And they're not that easy either. 1,500 meters at 6%, 2.5 Ks at 6%, 2.5 Ks at 8% even. And that's in the first hour, those three hills, but doubtful anyone was particularly interested. There is one hill near the finish. It's 600 meters at 6.5%, and then a bit of a plateau, and then a really fast descent on the big N road into the finish. The finish even is downhill from a K to 500 meters to go. Then there's a bend with 200 right-hand sweeper. So very, very fast finish. But listen, downhill finishes, if it's not an RCS race, so who cares? Right? And the sprinters we have here, they're few and far between. We've got Godon, but he's leading out Sam Bennett, who just won at Cache de Dunkirk. We've got Mads Pedersen, the big favorite, with a dedicated lead-out train, and as well as Magnus Cort. But to be honest, Magnus Cort never has been a good bunch sprinter, so it really is thin on the ground in terms of bunch sprinters, Benji. It's the 1 year Groenewegen probably should have come to the Dauphiné. He's not here for once.
Yeah, for the first stage, and then abandon after day one.
There goes Slovenia.
That would have been the plan for Groenewegen. But anyway, this is one sprint stage, and at the start I was thinking, okay, parkour, let's take a look at it. Could there be a breakaway here? Maybe like a Rune Gergold style thing that eventually most likely will be caught, because there's still multiple sprint teams that still want to control those groups. So Mathis Lebert and also Mark Donovan in the breakaway. I remember the days when Mark Donovan was climbing for DSM in the Vuelta and looked relatively good. Right here in the breakaway with Lebert. This breakaway is the breakaway. So two-man breakaway up the road, being controlled by the likes of Decathlon Agezer and Little Trek. So the two sprint teams you'd expect to control on this stage. I gotta be honest about it. And I'm gonna ask you honestly as well, how much did you watch from this stage of the first 75%?
Oh, zero, but that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, there's other cycling on today. There's Brussels Cycling Classic. There's the Alps, how do you pronounce it? Alps Grésivaudan Classic. So I kind of watched Brussels Cycling Classic, made some lunch, and then settled in for the last 25, 30 Ks. Any more is, we don't need to be doing that. But there's also people wanting to keep their GC leaders safe here. Ineos with Carlos Rodriguez, Broe with Roglic, Bahrain with Jabari even. Who else? Ayuso for UAE Team Emirates. But yeah, I wasn't surprised there wasn't a more serious break, Benji, because I don't know. I guess people just thought Trek would chase it down anyway. They got a strong team dedicated to it.
Now, wrap forward towards the last 40 kilometers. We've got a small mechanical by Sam Bennett, comes back to the peloton. Last 15 kilometers, there's a crash of of James Whelan, I'm sorry. At this point, the breakaway is caught. Steven Kruijswijk just avoiding the crash, so that would have been a typical Visma thing where Kruijswijk could crash in the Dauphiné and therefore not be in the Tour de France kind of thing. Fortunately, that did not happen. But in the last 14 kilometers, I was mainly looking at all the GC teams. Are they trying to keep their GC riders safe? In what shape? Or I was doing so on the right side of the road, the other teams all over the road as well. And it's hard to say, oh, this team did it badly or this team did it well, because I felt like everybody did it relatively okay. Or did you notice moments where a GC rider felt relatively unsafe?
No, I thought it was fine from Ineos, UAE, and Bora. The notable absentees are Visma Lease Bike, because they have Jorgensen and Koos here for GC. Now, they're not the same level of favourite as Ayuso, Roglic, or Rodriguez, but they're absent. The other team that's absent, Benji, is Quickstep. Soudal Quickstep for Remco Evenepoel. They weren't really at the front either. And now what did he say before this race? Because we didn't say that in the Dauphiné preview in the weekly show.
We got to talk about it. So Remco Evenepoel, I've seen a quote that he said he would ride for Landa and Van Wilder for GC. Realistic or bullshit?
I mean, if he's not in good shape, It is
Yeah.
realistic. I don't think if he's in moderate shape, he'll just say, I'm not going to help
Yeah.
you.
But it's
I
a
did
weird
see-
thing to lie about. You can
Yeah.
say, oh, I don't feel so good, but saying expressly, I'm going to ride for these other 2 people in my team, I feel like that's taking the lie too far to the point that I believe what he's saying.
Yeah, because then if you attack or something, it's like, what? You said
You're
they were
attacking
going
your
to help him.
teammate.
Yeah, you know? And given their absence from the front, it really seems that is the case. Now, I also saw that Landa had a mechanical at one point and he was coming back,
Okay.
and Quickstep dropped the rouleur back to the back of the peloton. So that's also evidence that maybe they are really going for Landa here. And listen, Landa came second in Catalonia behind a rider called Tadej Pogacar. So he's
Fair.
no slouch, and him podiuming this race, particularly with how many hard mountain stages there are, is not beyond the realms of possibility either. But yeah, they were the 3 teams, Broe, Ineos, and UE, who were right at the front, controlling, as well as X Benji. And that was for Cor, right?
I think so. Like, I don't know. I think so. That's my guess at this point. But also, we're talking about Cor, we're talking about all that stuff. But there was also another team that you already mentioned, which was UAE, that tried something. Because you've got that hill with about 11 kilometers to go roughly. That 600 meters, was it 6% climb? And we saw a UAE rider attack there. Niels Pollitt, but there was some response to that. How did you feel about that situation?
I didn't understand it at all. Like, because basically it looks, for all intents and purposes, like Ineos, UAE, and Bora have this, and they weren't going quick on the climb. They weren't going quick. They had it blocked to keep position because everyone's in, I thought, stay safe mode.
Yeah.
And then Pollitt speaks to Marc Soler. I swear it's Marc Soler he speaks to, the devil on his shoulder, and says, should I whack it? And Marc Soler goes, yeah, sure. Go.
Si, senor.
And he's like, and then Marco Haller, maybe because they're German training buddies, he attacks with Pollitt. And I'm like, Marco Haller, there's no way, Benji, you cannot, that in the meeting this morning, I don't know if it was Bernie Eisel here, although maybe we shouldn't put anything beyond Bernie Eisel, but Bernie Eisel said, or whoever it was in the team meeting this morning, said, all right, on top of that kicker, Marco, you're going to attack for the stage win. Fuck Rogler.
There's no way.
There's no way. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't mind it. You know, like sometimes teams are too conservative. Like, why not have a crack? But Tarling was clearly like, hold up, you were my brothers in rouleur. We were supposed to be side by side till 5Ks to go, and now you're attacking. This is not.
He took it personally.
And then he went across. He started jumping, and I don't know if one of the Ineos guys shouted at him, and then he stopped, and then he started pacing really hard behind Pollitt and Haller.
Yeah.
And
oh, we've got a silent Patrick. He's back.
well, he created a split, Tarling. So he could have probably gone with them, and then I don't know. Should Ineos have just let these 2 guys go clear and say, "You do your own thing"? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, this situation gets neutralized because of that response by Tarling, etc., and Haller initially jumping, and we're back to Ineos being on one side of the road, X being on the other side of the road. It was like weird, a very wide road and like a hole in the middle of the peloton. Because they were both looking for a side, and they kept trying to hammer it on both sides, and eventually OE takes over for a bit in a descendy part, if I recall correctly, and then we're all waiting for the inevitable, where the actual sprinters come to the front in the last 3 kilometers, and we pass that 3 kilometer segment. The GC teams slowly start disappearing towards the 2 kilometer mark, and it's indeed on one side, Little Trek, and on the other side, Decathlon Age Desert. But I do truly feel that this is a major moment in the stage as well, because the way Squins and Kirsch destroy the Decathlon Age Desert train, that matters at the end of the stage.
Definitely, like this fast run in, and you need numbers to peel off because Decathlon didn't have the numbers. I think it might have been Godon who was the one that launched it before Trek on the downhill, and he did whack it. But to be honest, Godon, I reckon Godon comes second in this stage himself at worst. Like the way he sprinted in Romandy, honestly, like he's sprinting so well. But I was surprised to see, I think it was him before Bosenhagen in the train. I don't know who was the last man exactly. Because there is also Naesen has, because Naesen and Bennett both have the national champs bands and on it, so it's hard to exactly see. who it is.
Yeah, and Bennett is half Belgian, so he might as well put Belgian bands on his shoulder. I think wasn't he born in Belgium? I think so. Maybe I'll make it up.
No, he was born in Wervik.
In what?
Wervik.
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 Wervik. I was like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
Don't know. Cork, mate.
Technically, it's Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, little Trek on the left-hand side. Skuins, Kirsch before Gibbons, actually. I don't know about that. I feel like Kirsch is actually better as last man. But anyway, Gibbons is traditionally the last man. And then Pedersen, and there's a right hand, and you can say, Trek were on the front too early. Yeah, probably a little bit. Trek got lucky that no one swamped over them with another lead out. Yeah, but also, what other lead outs? There aren't any. There's no sprinters here except Bennett and Pedersen and other second-tier sprinters with no lead-outs. So, like, they took the front position.
Is an insult to all the other second-tier sprinters.
True, yeah. It's like they're not... There's, Venturini's, you know? Fourth tier. And they just were able to dominate that position. Gibbons kind of measured his effort. There's a downhill run. No one came over the top of them. And then he's just got to get Pedersen in decent position to the right-hander. This reminded me so much of the Paris finish that Coy beat Pedersen on, where Sturven went for a really long time. There's a left-hander, and then Pedersen kicked out the left-hander. This is the same, but from the right-hander. Pedersen gets there first, kicks through the bend, and then out of the bend with Bennett, who's moved up himself, moved Fred Wright off the wheel of Pedersen, and we're thinking,
We've got a lost Patrick again. He's going to come back in a second. Yes,
we've just seen him win a million times in Crasheur de Dunkirk, and he isn't able to come out of the wheel. Pedersen kicks, and Pedersen doesn't slow down in his sprints. He stays out of the saddle the whole way through and sprints hard through the line. And Bennett has to sit down again out of his wheel. So Mads Pedersen, the favorite for the stage, duly salutes his millionth win of the year. He's won. Let's have a look. How many? Have a guess, Benji. How many world?
Well, not a million, but
8 wins, only 2 at World Tour level. But Kent-Wevelgem's pretty good.
A pretty good race.
Yeah, and third at Roubaix.
The thing with Pedersen as well is that he's that typical versatile sprinter where you're looking at Limoges style stage in the Tour de France. So in the next Tour de France, there's a stage very similar like that. At least you told me so in the preview, I think, at some point.
Yeah, it's the same.
But then again, he's also much more versatile in other terrains. So the one thing that he on paper in the Tour de France, in the Tour de France, he shouldn't be beating Philipsen in a flat sprint.
No.
But in the Dauphiné, where the competition is lower, where you've got Sam Bennett as main competition, like, no offense to Sam Bennett, but he's not a top sprinter anymore. So Pedersen should on paper be able to beat these riders, but it's nice to then again see it, because it also shows that Pedersen has the form towards the Tour de France to then win those Limoges kind of hilly uphill sprints. And in addition to that, it's very nice to see Kirsch back in the train after his crash. I think he had an injury on his finger during Dwars door Vlaanderen as well.
He went down with that, yeah.
So it's nice to see the train back together. I need to see more of Gibbons to know whether I am like certain that he's like deserving of being that lead out at a Tour de France level race though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Kirsch might be a little bit better. But you're right,
but then
Benji.
Again, third last rider in the train, Kirsch, is also very valuable. Maybe Gibbons is less good at that role, and that's why they do it this way.
Yeah, like, I think they did a really, really good job today. I think it's a really hard finish to get the timing right with the downhills. I will say that, yeah, like you said, if Coy, if Merlier, if someone like that is in the wheel of Pedersen, then I think we have a very, very close finish like we did in that Paris stage. But I'll do the top 10. Mads Pedersen wins ahead of Sam Bennett and Hugo Page on Intermarché. Didn't he get some good results in the Dauphiné in 22? He did a 4th and a 5th, and now he's back third. Venturini 4th, Owen Dool 5th, Gazzoli 6th, Garcia Cortina 7th, Fred Wright 8th, Russo 9th, and Magnus Cort 10th. So that sort of says all you need to know about the sprint field. In terms
like
of...
Vuelta.
It is, yeah. With a French flair. In terms of GC, thankfully, everyone stayed upright from what I could see, Benji. there was no, because when they were coming down that hill with 5Ks to go at 99 kilometers an hour, I was a little like, please. I think they were all thinking that. Please, everyone, stay up. Right. Yeah. Calma. And that's the Dauphiné stage 1, not the. It's just, these stages, Benji.
They have to exist.
They have to exist. They're not the most memorable stages, but at the end of the day, at the end of the season, when you tot up the number of wins for teams,
they matter.
They matter. And these stages exist in every race. Just about every single stage race has a stage like this and another sort of hilly sprint stage, and that's why riders like Pedersen that can put runs on the board week in, week out, they're very, very valuable. Indeed. Okay. Tomorrow's stage, Benji, is Col de la Loge. Col de la Loge? Col de la Loge. This is Aldi Col de la Loge from Ganat.
It's way worse than Aldi version of Col de la Loge, my friend. I found this mountain under the bridge in my local urban city vibe mountain.
Mate, this is roadkill Col de la Loge. This is dead kangaroo hit by Hilux Col de la Loge. That's all right, you're desperate. From Ghana to Col de la Loge, 143 Ks. Got some. Oh Jesus, there's some other sus names in here as well. There's some hills. There's some hills in the middle, and then I don't actually know how much elevation gain there is throughout the stage. 2,500. So it's a hilly stage, but they're not too difficult. And then 7.5 Ks, 6%. So there is a decent climb with about 30 Ks to go. Then a 5K little plateau, another 3.2K, 6% climb, and then false flat again for 3Ks, and then the finish, which I can't see. Can I see an exact profile for it? I think
climb.
I think the last 200 meters are flat. Let me just
That's
check.
Not what you want to hear on a climb.
Let me just check. This is like a Roglic stomp, right?
Yeah. Question. You're saying Roglic stomp, but I'm also thinking Algarve, Kortz won a mountain stage there. This seems like a longer climb. Is it? It feels a little bit too long maybe for a Magnus Kort in my head. Depends on the pacing.
I think the last 5Ks aren't that hard.
Yeah.
The last 5Ks are like 3%, and then the last 400 meters from a quick eye test, the last 400 meters are maybe 2%, 1%. So it's not that hard, and it really depends on his climbing shape. It depends if someone attacks, do they want to continue on with it? If they attack, then they got to be not relevant for GC, otherwise the GC teams will chase them. I think if you're Broe, you got to go for the Roglic bonies, right?
On paper, yes. Like, that's what you're hunting for. And it's always difficult now from Broe's perspective to think, okay, what is Remco going to be like? Okay, is he actually going to ride for Land and Van Wilder on a finish like this? Because on paper, we've seen that Remco have a bit of a sprint at the end of stages as well. So he could be competitive for this if he has form. And he's saying that he doesn't. And then I look at the other riders on the start list, and I'm trying to get through these teams and trying to figure out, is there a climber that has a sprint or anything? And I'm then thinking, okay, if you see Bora trying to control it, if you're UAE and you've got Soler, you try and maybe upset it a little bit, maybe a late attack. I don't know. Thinking about that, Ciccone has a bit of a sprint, but more of an uphill sprint.
Sobrero can sprint. Sobrero's fast.
Yeah, but then again, he's probably going to be full out for Roglic, I would expect, on this stage.
And Vlasov's quick. Is he here?
Yes.
Holy shit. So, like, Vlasov, Roglic, and Sobrero all quick. But it's a flattish finish. It could get really tactical. Gregoire, yeah. He's
I like
here.
Gregoire.
I mean, how well is Godon climbing? Jeez.
Sean Quinn back in the day, but
yeah,
he's American champion now. Not sure about his jersey, though, but that's another topic.
This was the Colbrelli Aaron Baru stage back in the day in 21. This was like when 21 Colbrelli had FTP of 6.5 watts per kilo. This Colbrelli won this ahead of Aaron Baru, or maybe it was a bit easier, but Kwiatkowski also back in the day used to be okay at
There is
these.
no way that this is a stage Aramburu got second on.
No, it's not. It was easier than this.
Like, Colbrelli 6.5 watt per kilo, whatever. Sure. Aramburu, sometimes we can pull him a bit up in the air when he doesn't deserve it, I think.
But he should be here. Like, this is actually a really good stage for him.
Edith Schelling. I'm just naming names.
No, Edith Schelling. Where has he been?
Is that a thing I think of when I think reduced climb? I don't know.
Dylan Turns?
Flat sprint, I'm not sold.
Yeah. Okay. It's a very strange stage. Like, it really depends whether the GC guys want to kick off and who paces. Because if no one, if they do that first 7.5K 6% climb and then the next 10-minute climb, if they do that slow and it's just controlled by X, then yeah, sure, like the sprinters can survive easily. The sprinters have to get to, not the sprinters, the Magnus Courts. That climb finishes 8Ks to go. That's a lot of time to come back. I really think it will be someone like that. So,
where's La Pera? Sorry, but where is La Pera?
True, yeah, good for him. Good for Gotera as well. Gotera's not here. Good for Manier. Can he climb? But he's not here.
Well, we can keep naming names that aren't here, but
I'm going to go with Cor. I think it's a flat
I'm going to go with
sprint.
Romain Gregoire because I just want to go for someone that is out of the spectrum of what you'd expect.
It'd be interesting to see the shape of people, though. Like, sometimes there's a sprinter that really surprises you. That they climb really, really well. I'll be interested to see, like maybe Marco Haller. I don't know. This is the sort of finish.
Is that the name that you came up with? You could have thought about Mess Pedersen. I don't know.
Pedersen, yeah. Are we wrong to count out Pedersen?
I don't think so.
X have to pace to drop him.
Someone has to pace if they want to win the stage. Like, that's obvious, eh? So
yeah, true. All right.
It's not impossible for Pedersen to win, but it would have to be a very passive final climb.
Yeah. I would tune in with about 30Ks to go tomorrow. Last 45, 50 minutes, I reckon, is where it should be for this stage. Elsewhere around the Sunday afternoon racing circuit, we had one of the big National Cup junior races, Jesper Schoofs. Is that how you say it, Benji? Schoofs? Jesper Schoofs beat Ashland Barry in the Saarland Trofeo. It's a big junior race. And also there's a young Italian...
I'm trying to figure out what name you just tried to tell me.
Schoofs.
Schoofs.
Hoofs, man.
Hoofs, man. You just invented a new word.
Young sprinter Andrea Montagne looked pretty good. He won 2 stages there. And
his climb is mountain. His name is Mountain, sorry.
His name is Mountain, but he's a sprinter. In the U23 National Cups race, Course Le Père Grand Prix Jasinski, Bruck Roland won GC. He is the brother of Jules Roland. Don't know if that's any relation to Pierre Roland. Seems not, according to PCS. In the Alpes Grézy-Vaudin Classic, Marion Bunel beat Evita Muzic and Julie Begot, so a French
by how much?
Under Trois by a minute 40 on the Chamrousse finish, 18K 6%. So beautiful couple of stages, actually. French one-day races in Alpes Maritime and the Alpes Grézy-Vaudin Classic. I really like a mountainous one-day race.
She's also just so good, eh? She's 19. Let's not forget that. She has 19 rides for Saint-Michel Mavic-Aubert. Whoever signs that in World Tour can probably add a bit to that just with the World Tour surrounding of a team. Saint-Michel is not a shit team, but it's still a continental team in terms of their budget. So whoever signs her, like, it's an uncut gem. Is that a word?
Yeah, it is. Or raw diamond. Or I think so. Julie Begot, also 19-year-old, was third. She was actually pulling much more than Muzic. Muzic went for the sprint. And she's like 6 years older than Begot. Begot is on Cofidis. She was the best junior in 2022. The best junior in 2023. She was very, very good. And is very, very good. She was in that Chasse Patate in Liège, Bastogne Liège. So write her name down in your little black book. Brussels Cycling Classic, really, really entertaining race. 220 Ks. They do the Muurkapelmuur, the Bosberg. So this is a proper classic. It's very, very hilly. And we got Binny and Caden Groves as the favourites. If it was coming down to a sprint, there was a breakaway with Martin Švrček, the Slovak, involved on Sudal Quickstep. Just remember that. And then it kicked off on one of the hills. Binny opened it up. There's a huge split in the peloton. Zangler missed it. Janier, I think, missed it, if I have to guess. Yeah, he did miss it. And Christoph missed it. So that meant UnoX had numbers in front with Abrahamsen. There was another kicker. FDJ rode full gas with Aski to keep that group behind. But in the end, Abrahamsen attacked. Švrček, who'd been in the break, got caught, joined him. They pulled together. Then Abrahamsen attacked him with 5 Ks to go. And this is the man that just got caught 25 minutes to go on that Tirreno finish when Peacock got left on the front. And he'd been in the break for 200 Ks. Super. He's the super truck.
What type of truck?
He is an excavator.
An excavator?
Yeah.
Like an actual crane. Isn't
like
that slow?
An excavator.
What do you mean with an excavator? As in it grabs dirt from the floor?
Yeah.
How is that a fast truck?
Yeah, but it's powerful.
Yeah, but it needs to be both.
I actually hate those American style trucks. So I actually don't know much about them. So I can't call. Yeah, he's not like Owen Costu's a little red truck. He's like a bigger truck, but he was a GC. He's a GC rider, and then he put on weight to try something else because it wasn't working as a GC rider, and now he takes his first ever professional victory. And it was when they went clear, I was like, they got to be careful. If they remember Tirreno, Binny was there too, and teams Alpecin and Intermarché, they weren't immediately pulling with multiple riders behind Abrahamsen, and he won easily, even though it finished uphill by 4 seconds. First pro win. He was second in Dwaalsdorp Vlaanderen. UnoX got him locked up till 2026, and he's having a breakout season. Maybe one of the most, I think maybe one of the, we should do a most improved rider award at the end of the year, Benji, because his PCS ranking in 2022 was 1400th. In 2023, it was 470. Mm-hmm. And in 2024, it's 48th. So he's
Pretty
a top 50 rider in the world at the moment.
Wow. I guess.
I think he's really good, actually. I actually think he's really, really good.
Yeah, but top 50 in the world that's very subjective.
Name 49 better riders.
Tadej Pogačar. Jonas Vingegaard. we can rattle on for a while, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, he's very, very good. And UnoX got to be happy with that. Binny won the bunch sprint for second. Caden Groves third. Ackerman fourth. Moschetti fifth. Milano sixth. So Milano racing after the Giro. And that's all we've got, I think, from the racing around the scene, Benji. This week coming up, starting midweek, is the ZLM Tour. But yeah, tomorrow, really the only racing on is the Dauphiné, that hilly stage. Any other news?
Not really. I think that's about it when it comes to the cycling stuff that I saw. Maybe the Lefebvre, Julien Alaphilippe flirting in the news again. But
I want to speak without agents.
Like, you want to manipulate your rider without his agent. That's how that sounds to me. Sorry, but
there's also some like TDF talk, like some press stuff. Like Machin says that Vingegaard is still the big favorite before the Tour de France. So there's trying to take the pressure off Pogačar. So
that quote.
Yeah.
Did you see the quote?
Yeah.
When it said the favorites for this race are
Vingegaard.
I think he said Roglic, Remco, and Vlasov.
Dude, half of the World Tour, they think Vlasov is someone, the DSs and managers as well. They don't realize he can't climb.
Like, I'm more eager to say that he can climb, but not as much as a favorite for the Tour de France. The man can top 10 the Tour de France, in my opinion.
Okay.
But he is not a favorite for the Tour de France. As simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, in 21 on Astana, he could climb, but he can't climb anymore. I'm being facetious. He can climb, but on Astana, he climbed fast.
Yeah.
So like favorite to win. Was Hindley in the quote?
I don't remember. I
Bro,
don't think so.
Hindley is underrated. I know it's because
Yeah.
the thing is because Vlasov, right? Vlasov is very consistent, and in 1 week, he is an excellent, excellent rider. Look at him this year.
Yeah.
Valenciana third, Paris-Nice fifth, and I think he probably could have podiumed if he got to do his own thing on some of the stages. Catalunya fourth, Romandy second. He's got a very good TT. He climbs okay on a Uni Puerto 13K 6%, which is what he won on in Paris-Nice on La Madone Hotel. And he's very punchy, so he can take bonies, etc. But, in the Vuelta, seventh, like, doing a Trofeo Baraki with Haller to go ahead of Oterbrooks on the flat. Like, just, I mean, he's fine, but Hindley won a Grand Tour. So, and that's the thing, Hindley is not always second and third. Hindley was in Romandy, and you wouldn't even realize. Hindley in Romandy came 28th, Basque Country 12th. So it's like, but then in the Tour, I would probably rather take Hindley to actually win, or at least podium.
Yeah.
But that's it. Otherwise, been pretty quiet. Okay, we'll get out of here, Benji. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks to our show partner, Join Cycling. We'll see you with the recap of Aldi Col de la Loge tomorrow. Until then, ciao.